Have you ever seen a bride leap out of a moving car in the middle of a thunderstorm just to escape her own wedding? That's exactly what Olivia Bennet did. In her soaking white gown heels slipping on the rain-slicked streets of Manhattan, she ran from the life her family had chosen for her. A life of luxury arranged marriage and a debt she was expected to pay with her future. But what she didn't expect was the black BMW that pulled up beside her, or the man inside it, Nathan Carter. A powerful billionaire with a cold reputation and the power to destroy everything her family had worked for. What started as an impulsive escape turned into something far more dangerous, a love that wasn't supposed to happen. But what if the man who saved you was also the one holding your family's fate in his hands? Stay with us, because what unfolds next is a story of betrayal, forgiveness, and the kind of love that rises from the ruins. And just when you think it's over, one twist will change everything. The rain was coming down in sheets over Manhattan as Olivia Bennet's trembling hand gripped the door handle of her cousin's silver sedan. Her white gown clung to her body like a cage, soaking wet and suffocating. Central Park flashed past the window, blurred behind raindrops and headlights, and her heart was beating so loud she could barely hear Ryan's voice. "You can't do this," he muttered, adjusting the rearview mirror. "The Whitmores already paid off most of your dad's debts. Everyone's waiting at the ceremony." "I don't care," Olivia snapped, her breath hitching. "I'm not marrying Ethan. I can't live a lie just to keep the family name afloat." Ryan glanced at her, jaw clenched. "This isn't just about you." That was the moment Olivia's fear shattered into something else, resolve. Before he could react, she yanked the handle, shoved open the door, and jumped into the storm. Her heels hit the slick pavement hard. She stumbled, nearly fell, but didn't stop. Her veil whipped across her face. Her gown was torn muddy and dragging behind her. Horns blared. A bystander gasped, "Is that a runaway bride?" But Olivia didn't care. Every step she took away from that car, that chapel, that life, felt like her first breath of freedom. Soaked to the bone, she finally collapsed beneath a flickering street lamp, breathing hard tears indistinguishable from rain. 8 million people in this city, and she had never felt more alone. Then a black BMW pulled up beside the curb. Its tinted window rolled down slowly. "Are you all right?" a calm, low voice asked. She looked up and met a pair of eyes, warm, concerned, and piercing through the fog like they already knew her. The man couldn't have been more than mid-30s. Dark rain-dampened hairsuit, still somehow immaculate despite the downpour. Her voice cracked. "I don't know. I can drive you somewhere safe. You don't even know me." He gave a small smile. "And you don't know me. But I figure brides running through the rain don't have too many options." Through the rain and chaos, Olivia saw Ryan's car stopped a block back. Hazard lights blinking, Ryan shouting her name weaving through the crowd. Panic flared again. She turned back to the stranger. "Okay," she whispered. He leaned over and opened the door from inside. She slid into the passenger seat, leaving a trail of water and mud on the leather seats. "I'm sorry about the mess," she mumbled. "Don't worry," he said, extending his hand. "Nathan Carter." She hesitated before taking it. "Olivia Bennet." As the BMW eased back into traffic, Nathan turned up the heat, his movements unhurried and composed. "Want to tell me what happened, or should I just drive?" Olivia watched him carefully. His strong jaw, the kindness in his voice, the elegant minimalism of his car. Everything about him screamed control. And something else. Something broken. "I was about to marry a man I didn't love," she said finally. That would explain the dress and the dramatic exit. "Have you ever wanted to run from something?" Nathan was silent for a moment, then more times than I care to admit. They drove through the shimmering streets of Manhattan. Olivia noticed a folder of documents in the back seat. The logo caught her eye, Future Bridge Capital. Her stomach twisted. She'd heard that name, somewhere between whispered arguments in her father's study and desperate phone calls late at night. But she said nothing. "Where should I take you?" Nathan asked. She froze. Home wasn't an option. Her parents would just force her back to Ethan. Friends, no one would understand. She was a Bennet after all. Bennet girls didn't run. They married strategically. "I don't know," she said softly, voice cracking. Nathan glanced at her with surprising tenderness. "I have a place not far from here. You can warm up, dry off. No expectations. No pressure. Against everything, her brain screamed. Olivia nodded. Minutes later, she followed him barefoot through the marble lobby of a luxury tower in Hudson Yards. They rode the elevator in silence. His apartment took up the entire 32nd floor. Sleek, elegant, cold. This way, he said, gesturing toward a hallway. Towels in the bathroom. I'll find you something to wear. The bathroom was bigger than her bedroom back in Charleston. Everything glistened, white marble, spotless mirrors. She stared at her reflection. Mascara running, hair plastered to her face, a ghost in a wedding dress. When she emerged, she wore an oversized cashmere sweatshirt that smelled faintly of cologne and something inexplicably comforting. Nathan was in the kitchen rolling up his sleeves, preparing tea. He didn't turn as he asked, "Feel better?" She sat at the bar nodding. "Why are you helping me?" He finally faced her. "Because I know what it looks like to be trapped." Something in his voice made her chest tighten. He handed her a mug of chamomile tea. Their fingers brushed. Her heart stumbled. "Olivia," he said suddenly, serious. "If you want to call your family, I can give you privacy. I can't go back. Not yet. Ethan's not a bad man. But I want to live my own life. Take photos. Create something. Not just be someone's wife." Nathan's eyes softened. "You're a photographer I studied in Paris. Paid it with savings my parents didn't know I had." His lips curled into a half smile. "Rebellious bride, huh?" They both chuckled. Olivia noticed the walls. No personal photos. Just cold, expensive art. "What do you do?" she asked. "Technology. My company builds software for small businesses." The name returned. Future Bridge. Her father's debts. But before she could ask more, his phone rang. He glanced at it, grimaced, and sent it to voicemail. "You're busy," she said quietly. "Not tonight." They talked for hours. About everything. About nothing. Eventually, as exhaustion took hold, Olivia whispered, "Can I stay? Just tonight?" "Of course." As she turned to thank him, he stood closer than expected. Their eyes met. Neither of them moved. For one heartbeat, the world stopped. "Thank you, Nathan," she said, voice barely audible. "Thank you, Olivia," he replied. "It's been a long time since this place felt like home." That night, lying in a guest room far above the city, Olivia listened to the rain slow into a gentle rhythm. She didn't know yet that the man who had saved her from a wedding was the very one who could destroy her entire family. And she had no idea she'd already started to fall for him. We're so sorry to interrupt the story here, but we promise what happens next will leave you speechless. Do you think Olivia made the right choice by trusting a stranger that night? And what would you do if you discovered your rescuer held your family's future in their hands? Tell us in the comments, what country are you watching from? And if this story touched your heart, please tap that like button and share the love. Olivia didn't expect 2 weeks to feel like a lifetime, and she certainly didn't expect to fall in love with the man who by every twist of fate should have been her enemy. But every day she stayed in Nathan Carter's apartment in Hudson Yards, she found herself breathing a little deeper. She'd wake early, camera in hand, exploring the city like a woman reborn. He would come home late from meetings, loosen his tie, and listen as she recounted the stories behind her photographs. Smiling street musicians, wrinkled hands folding fresh pasta, children kicking a ball between taxis. It wasn't just the comfort of a warm place or the laughter that had returned to her voice. It was the way Nathan looked at her, like she was the first unpredictable thing in his perfectly controlled life. But every story built on silence eventually cracks. One night, as Olivia stirred a pot of soup in Nathan's minimalist kitchen, she asked without looking up, "Did you ever think about having a family?" He paused, closing his laptop. "I used to, back when I was engaged." She turned slowly. "What happened?" Her name was Carmen. She chose my business partner over me and sold out everything we built together. Olivia winced. "I'm sorry." Nathan shook his head. "It taught me not to trust people too quickly." The words hung in the air longer than they should have. She should have told him then, told him everything. That her family owed millions to his company, that she knew what Future Bridge Capital was and what it had the power to destroy. But she stayed silent. That night, as she slipped a USB into his computer to back up her photos, she caught a glimpse of a familiar name, Bennett Textiles, buried deep in one of the company's financial reports. Her hands trembled, but she didn't click. The next afternoon, Olivia returned from a photography walk, cheeks flushed, camera full of life. Nathan handed her an envelope. "I thought you might want to print a few. There's a gallery in Soho that takes submissions." She smiled, overwhelmed. "You really think I'm good enough?" He didn't answer with words. He just looked at her like she was more than enough. But peace is a fragile thing. That night, as rain once again tapped against the glass, the doorbell rang. Once, then twice, then louder, urgent. Nathan's brow furrowed. Olivia's breath caught. She knew. When he opened the door, Ryan Bennett stood in the hallway, soaked to the skin, panic in his eyes. "Olivia, thank God. 2 weeks, no calls, no texts. Mom's crying herself sick. Ethan's threatening to sue. Dad's on the verge of a heart attack." Nathan stepped forward, protective. "I'm sorry, and you are." Ryan blinked, stunned. "You're Nathan Carter." The silence that followed was deafening. Nathan's face went from polite to unreadable. "Bennett Textiles, you're that Olivia Bennett." Her world stopped. "Nathan," she whispered, stepping forward. "Please let me explain. How long have you known?" he asked, voice like steel. "I saw the company name last week, but I didn't." "You didn't think to mention that your family owes mine $3 million? Ryan stared, mouth open. "Wait, what, Olivia? What did you do?" "No," she cried. "This isn't like that. I didn't plan this. I didn't know who he was when I ran." "But you stayed," Nathan said coldly. "You smiled. You made me feel things." "Was that part of the plan, seduce the CEO and save the family business?" Her throat closed. "No, I swear, Nathan. I fell for you before I knew anything. I didn't even mean to, but you did, didn't you?" His voice cracked for the first time. "And I was stupid enough to believe you were different." A new voice spoke from the hall. "Olivia?" They turned. Charles Bennett, her father, was standing there, gray-faced, rain dripping from his coat sleeves. "No," she whispered. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Charles stepped forward, eyes on Nathan. "Mr. Carter, please. My daughter doesn't know the details. The loan's the collateral, it's not her fault." Nathan didn't blink. "Is it true you borrowed from other lenders?" Charles nodded, shame dripping from every word. "I was trying to save what generations built, but I failed. And now? If you foreclose on us this week, I won't survive it. My family won't." For the first time, Nathan seemed unsure. "Is that why you arranged the wedding with Ethan Whitmore?" he asked Olivia. She nodded, eyes glossy. "I was going to give up my life to protect them. Then I ran, and ended up with the one man who held our future in his hands." "I can't do this," Nathan said softly. "I can't fall for someone who hides this much." "You're not falling," she whispered. "You already fell." His eyes flashed hurt and fury all at once. "You have until Friday. After that, the foreclosure goes through. And you," he turned to Olivia, his voice flat, "final should leave." She looked at him for a long second, then turned, picked up her camera bag with trembling hands and walked toward the door. At the threshold, she paused. "For what it's worth," she said through tears, "these past 2 weeks were the happiest of my life. And that was real?" He didn't answer, just stood there, fists clenched as the door closed behind her. "We're truly sorry to leave the story hanging at this point, but what happens next will absolutely break and mend your heart. Do you believe Nathan was right to push Olivia away? Or do you think love deserves a second chance even after betrayal? Tell us where you're watching from, and if this story gripped your heart, please tap the like button and show your support." 3 months had passed since Olivia Bennett walked out of Nathan Carter's life with rain in her eyes and heartbreak in her chest. She had returned to Charleston, where the walls of her childhood home felt smaller and heavier than ever. But something inside her had changed. She no longer waited to be rescued. Instead, she picked up her camera and began capturing stories of resilience, of survival, of tradition. Her father, Charles, humbled, but healing worked beside her as they transformed the back room of their failing textile workshop into a photo studio. The project was called Threads of Hope, and it started with the people she had known her whole life, artisans, weaving history into fabric hands stained with dye and years. Her photos were honest, raw, and beautiful. A local gallery agreed to host her first exhibit. That night, strangers wandered in and stared in silence. Some cried, some applauded. All of them felt something. And then the message came. A sleek envelope bearing the name Actualizarte, a new consulting firm, a photography contract, 3 months, a generous stipend. One catch: it required her to work in New York City. Olivia stared at the address printed on the itinerary. It led to a building she knew too well. Nathan's building. She thought about ignoring it. But something, maybe the ghost of that night she jumped from a car, maybe the ache that never fully left her chest, pushed her forward. On her first assignment, she found herself photographing a family bakery that had been saved by a new small business support initiative. They spoke of second chances, of how a man named Nathan Carter had personally visited them, helped restructure their debt, and given them back their dignity. He hadn't done it for her, but in a way, maybe he had. That afternoon, as she left the bakery, her phone buzzed. Cafe, same table as before, if you want. N. Her breath caught. She arrived just before sunset. Nathan was already sitting at their table in the corner of that tiny Soho cafe, fingers wrapped around a steaming cup of black coffee. He looked thinner, older, but his eyes, still the same. "Hi," she said quietly as she slid into the chair across from him. "Hi," he echoed. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Olivia asked, "Why this job? Why bring me back here?" He looked down, then up again, eyes raw. "Because your photos changed me. Because you were right. I was building something powerful, but I had no idea how to make it mean something. You taught me that." Her throat tightened. He continued, "I wanted to find a way to help, to give back. And I thought maybe if we're lucky, life gives us another chance." She blinked fast. "You've been following my work." He smiled slightly. "Every post, every photo. I have your exhibit flyers saved." Her heart thudded. "Why didn't you call?" she whispered. "Because I thought you deserved better than a man still learning how to trust. And now I don't know if I've figured it all out," he said, voice unsteady. "But I do know this: not a day has gone by that I haven't missed you." She reached across the table, touched his hand. He didn't pull away. "I never stopped loving you, Nathan," she whispered. "Even when I hated how things ended. Even when it hurt." He turned his hand and laced their fingers. "Then maybe we can write a better ending." A year later, Olivia walked down a garden aisle in Charleston wearing a dress she'd designed herself, ivory silk, embroidered by the same artisans she'd once photographed. Her veil belonged to her grandmother. Her bouquet was wrapped in ribbon, printed with tiny photos from her exhibit. Nathan stood waiting beneath the jacaranda trees, wearing a soft gray suit and the gentlest smile she'd ever seen. They didn't exchange vows written by someone else. They spoke their own truths. "I choose you," Olivia said, voice trembling. "Not because I need you, but because with you I feel more me than I ever have." "I choose you," Nathan replied, "because you showed me how to live, not just succeed. Because with you, I don't just build companies, I build us." The crowd cheered, and mariachi music, Nathan's surprise for her, rose into the air as he spun her into a dance beneath the lanterns. Their story had begun in the rain, but it was here, surrounded by family and friends and years of healing, that they found their forever. And in every photo Olivia took afterward, in every handheld, every smile, every shadow softened by light, there was one truth that remained. Love, when chosen freely, when fought for, honestly had the power to turn broken moments into beautiful beginnings. Now let me ask you something. Do you believe in second chances even after heartbreak? And have you ever loved someone enough to forgive everything? What did you think of this story? Comment number 3 if it touched your heart. Number 1, if it didn't quite land for you. And on number 2, if it felt just okay. Also, tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to know. And if this journey moved you, please tap that heart and share this video with someone who needs to believe in love again.